Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the CCL. We're dealing with what was originally our slotted. I'm running out of S words at the moment. Second slotted match of the evening. Second slotted series of the. I can't think of an S word for night, so we're just gonna go the Solace. The second slotted series of the Solace. How
Nice.
about that? You like that?
Nice.
We're doing it.
I'm a fan.
I hope
Now keep
Shifted
going. Don't let me
proper-
hold you back.
I can't go any further. I'm done. I can't go any further with that, but we can go further with what we have tonight. UTK going up against Ole Miss in what, again, was originally our second series of the evening. This is going to be an interesting one because both squads looking for a little bit of favor going into the early part of the season. Ole Miss currently sitting at 1-1, UTK only at 1-2, and I believe one of those guys were in fact a forfeit. So they're still looking for their first match win, taking a look at what their roster has to offer for us. They have Stainless, Connor, Slim, God's Fava, and Slayin. And I will say a little bit surprising just with this team not finding a lot of early favorites. They did look really good versus Alabama, not quite able to kind of get things going into their favor there. And then I believe I'm not sure who their other loss would be to. But here's Ole Miss Red, as they'll be dealing with Mensa, Austin, Fib, Tariz, and Skeeman. And this team has looked really pretty solid throughout the times that we've seen them so far in stream.
Well, they lost to Full Sail. If you're wondering where that one loss comes from, they currently rest at 9th position in the Southeast Division, which is where we will be located at for this match. UT Knoxville sitting at 12th, but their win was against Concord Gray. So in a way, you're not wrong, Shift. They're looking for that vindication that they are that team to be untrifled with. As we take a look at the map set here, we will be starting off at Ramaza Hardpoint. Piccadilly Search and Destroy, which I'm excited for. You know me, Shift. I love myself some good sniper play, Hack the Yard Domination, Hack the Yard Hardpoint, and then St. Petro Domination will, or S&D, excuse me, will be closing it out. If we need a map 4 and 5, we have been blessed with just one map 4 so far across all CCL matches broadcasted thus far. Hoping for a close one here in between Ole Miss and UT Knoxville.
And I think this one is a big statement series here for the Vols from the University of Tennessee. They really need to come out and at least put up a fight versus this Ole Miss Red squad, if not potentially. I think for a lot of people in that orange that really want to win, this would be a big one to grab here versus Ole Miss Red. Again, we talked earlier about this Southeastern Division. It is a very difficult one. We just saw how good Georgia Southern has looked. You mentioned Full Sail. The Louisiana Tech team looking really good, and you still got Mississippi State and Alabama and Florida State in the mix. So a very talented division. And as again, we go over to the Ramaza hard point for map number 1, the big 50-50 towards this top bridge. Stainless, the first one up, gets spammed through the smoke. Mensa credited with the kill, and Ole Miss Red will find the early time.
Yeah, and this is absolutely huge, like we've talked about earlier in our previous match where we had Ramaza hardpoint, though we don't get to see it all too often. It is absolutely huge, obviously, to come on top of that 50-50. A good setup here from Mensa, who has the M4. Shot's going to be able to come through, and teammates going to be able to help. Didn't see the player just rush through the smoke. Going to end up coming on top of that. That's actually great.
And that's not, he's going to try to assist his teammates pushing forward. Will eventually be taken down. Nice hold there for UTK from the rug shop side. Kariz will find one, stays alive, but you can see a lot of Ole Miss Red on your minimap is worried about the player in the back. I believe that might be Slim or Condog who was back there. Looked like Condog was the player that was there. Slim is also trying to work his way into that area though. So UTK, we don't often see this rotation, but they push through the first hard point and want to cut across the backside of the middle. Only a 1-for-1 trade thus far. Slim tossing out a nade will find a tag with it, but Ole Miss Red looking to receive this as they've got two players, at least two players actually watching the backside of construction, and Kariz finding 2 kills will likely put a pretty stiff stop to this UTK esports push. And again, you need to make a play here if you're the Vols. You can't stand in construction for the next 42 seconds.
You don't want this hard point to go over to a full 60, that's for damn sure. I mean, especially with Fib in here. A well-trained MP5 player is able to come away with a 2-piece. They're on 2 straight. There's the third. Line him up. He's going to continuously knock you down. You're now at 25 seconds left inside this hard point. Distinctly going over towards Ole Miss Red. There's another one, Fib. Get out of my face. He's going to be able to come out on top of that. Whips out the pistol just because they're scared. A little bit of damage. He's going to be able to be healed back up here momentarily. And just like that, Ole Miss Red off of P2, heading into P3. The rotation already coming through so cleanly. Looking quite dominant coming off of the first hard point.
Yeah, about 40 seconds there in that second electronic shop hard point. Now we go to the barber shop, and again, already Ole Miss Red set up near the top of rug shop, pushing through the staircase to try to find an early contest. Scheming for one. He's got one more player in front. That was Goose Faba who will find the kill. And with that, UTK will sustain their hold for now. Big moment here for Condog as he's the only player up top, kind of being a little bit of a spy up here, finds 1 kill. That'll slow down Ole Miss pretty considerably as Stainless is able to find 1 more pick, but where are the numbers to help out with the hill? Fib will take down another 2. Austin trying to come back in will find the trade on the last. And the final 30 seconds, with nobody from UTK Esports spawning in the back, will likely go to Ole Miss Red. And UTK have to be careful here. If they get too aggressive, they might just give up the rotation to P4 as well.
Yeah, no, these spawns are not in the greatest place. They will get the 4th to come along with them towards the next hardpoint that's over by construction. So these shots coming out from Condog, who has been setting up shop on top of the cafe, has been able to turn this back on its head. Doing a great job so far is UT Knoxville. They're going to be able to get control of this hardpoint immediately. But here comes the push across the bridge and underneath towards mid, though Slim has a very good angle with their MP5, was able to get a 2-piece of their own.
Yeah, I think he was just playing underneath the bridge, completely honestly, and Stainless will pick up his hole that he was leaving after he got traded away. A good first 20 seconds here, though, for the Vols, as University of Tennessee looking to hold on to their first significant hill of this rotation so far in hills. Mensa trying to work from the front, but it's with an M4. Comes through, nice double challenge into the back. Mensa runs out of bullets. Austin will find the kill, and that'll be enough for Ole Miss Red to break initially. UTK trying to work their way over for maybe 1 more hit and push through. Will think maybe the better of it, and with that, Ole Miss Red will be quicker on the rotation to get to the mid-map. Last fight for the scrap will actually favor the Vols, though. So at everything through the first 4 hills, we're looking at essentially a dead even game, and Goosebaba in a really good spot to potentially make some work happen through the archway. Eventually gets taken down, but Ole Miss Red is not contesting the middle part of the map like they had previously as the rotation came from 2 to 3. They're going to have to be forced to hold this P5 from inside the hill.
And we've seen what a good AR player is able to do when they're able to run away with a decent amount of coverage. A Connor living up to that is at 19 and 10. One name, Mr. J Pistachio, comes to mind for UT Dallas and how much work they're able to put together with a well-trained shot from the M4. It creates a lot of openings for your MP5s to be able to work their way through these inner tunnels of Ramaza. And I think almost exclusively that's where you could see UT Knoxville starting to put all the pieces together. The kill feed's starting to go back and forth, but the for these hills are starting to swing a little bit back and forth, but towards UT Knoxville's favor ever so slightly.
And this is not, this last 12 seconds is going to go the way of Ole Miss Red. The fact that you're only going to be down about 30 points, though, is not bad. It could have been, and honestly probably should have been a lot worse than that.
Sure.
But going into our next rotation of hills, this is where things can really start to come back for UTK. Goose will put himself onto the hill first. He saw a couple of players nearby, toss another random Semtex. That won't connect. Scheming waiting to challenge. Is contesting the hill for now, but again, Connor from right above him will help out with 2. Goose will find the only 1v1 he needed to, and UTK and the Vols looking to set themselves up pretty nicely here for this big P1, which can be a significant money hill. If you find the high ground, Connor almost able to find a second kill here, but he's not able to fully help out his teammate, and now just like that, Ole Miss Red looking to swing things back into their favor.
I mean, again, Connor finding a way to trade their life for at least 3 kills per life. That's absolutely massive for your AR player to be able to find such value. Austin's going to be able to stop Slim. Pushing across the bridge, though, Goose, along with their dead silence, was unheard. Was able to trade that kill back immediately. We are down to less than scrap time here for the hard point. We are back into full rotation, so we will go back over to the electronic shop so you can see Knoxville just hanging out down yonder. Going to be waiting for the rotation to come through the mid. One player rotating outside. We'll be going through the gun shop here, Shift. And if Ole Miss can turn this flank back in their favor, get the kills, this could go dramatically in the favor for Ole Miss Red.
But almost similarly, how UTK was insignificant when it came to them pushing into P2 from construction in the middle, Ole Miss Red's trying to do almost the exact same thing. Kariz from the middle will not find anything. Mensa's in a big position, though he'll take down 2 before he eventually gets traded. Had an opportunity for a 3rd, but wasn't able to find the kill. Austin from the front will break in initially, and UTK, they might just give this one up. A couple players are going to hit for the scrap, but it's not going to be with numbers. And UTK looking to cut across mid-map to hold themselves for a good barbershop will actually still be spawning old. So with that information and with those spawns, they will eventually win the scrap time with the last 13 seconds or so. But now they're going to be left a little bit short-handed on this rotation. Ole Miss Red looking to get the initial time in the barbershop.
Yeah, you get the scrap time. You get the lead for a handful of seconds here, Shift. But at what cost? I mean, you saw the spawns. All the red arrows spawning out towards the barbershop. already on top of the hard point is Old Miss Red. And that might be just a little bit of a slip up there from UT Knoxville. But they're able to get some kills heading back over to the next hard point. But again, the spawns heavily in the favor for Ole Miss Red. Again, Connor and Goose Pava, they're able to turn and get a good couple of kills. This is going to look a little sketchy. If Austin's able to come on top of this, they won't. However, you see Fib in the side and in the kill feed, able to get another 2-piece. There's the third. And they're going to be shutting down this push yet again in Ole Miss Red. This is starting to look like a full 60 in this hard point alone. And we are back headed into the construction site, down to the scrap time on P3. And yeah, you've got to chow.
Well, you would have liked to have seen that, but the players that were mid-map decided to go over towards construction site. But if they were to hit that with 3, they may have had a chance to at least contest some of that last time. But now we're looking at essentially a 50-point game. And when everything's going to be said and done here on Barbershop, you still got 2 players for Ole Miss ready to go in the construction site. Austin will find one before he's traded. Stainless now looking to hold things from the front as both players will try to get to the second floor. Not going to happen as Fib starts to wake up. He had a very explosive first part of this rotation, or first part of this map rather, slowed down, but now is again finding himself another killing spree, 3 straight. Kariz just behind him, also on 3 straight. And although Ole Miss Red cannot win here, they will put themselves pretty much within sneezing distance of being able to win unless UTK can find a way to break. And you're looking at Condog at 33-18. You almost feel like he's got to make a play, but he's the first one blooded in this exchange. Mensa will find himself too. Turning, Kariz, go to the pistol, go to the knife, do something. He'll find himself an M4 on the floor. A little shaky on the back end going for the beatdown, but UTK with the numbers will break for the final 17 seconds.
Connor's going to stop that from happening. Almost a sneaky backhand to the back of the neck of that player. Almost red, though. Again, it's just scrap time going towards Knoxville, but you see the spawns. We're heading into P5 here momentarily, Shift, and heavily for the favor. Inside the tunnel already is Ole Miss Red. They're taking control of the stairs on top of the cafe as well. And although there is a minor hit pushing towards the tunnels in that outside rotation as well, it is immediately snuffed out. One player will come out on top of that. I believe that's Slim. It is starting to work their way into the tunnel, but Pince's got to be big.
There it is. Stainless, again, he's had a really uncharacteristic game here. 14 and 23, finds 2 pretty crucial picks. The rest of his teammates are trying to flood in from the tunnel side, where that BS and D point is, by the gun shop. Now that's going to be nice as Con, Goose, and Slim will take down 3. Still a contest. Austin looking for a flank, gets shut down by Stainless. Another big 1v1 for him. Hill still contested. But the longer you see this kind of go in favor of UTK, the more you feel good about it. Stainless, another big pick. That's 2 straight for him. He's got 10 more seconds that he would like to contest. He'll be shrugged away. And now Slim's going to go in for, oh, this is a mistake here, especially if he falls. And now all of a sudden there's numbers for Ole Miss Red. They're already set up for the 3rd rotation on this first hard point. All they need are 2 seconds. Goose will get shut down. And likely that'll be just about it unless Condog can make something special happen. It looks like this is going to be 1 by 1 they funnel. And unless they win the gunfights, this will surely be in Ole Miss Red's favor. Nice nades coming through, though. And UTK will survive long enough to keep it contested. But again, not only do they need to win this hill, they cannot give up a single second worth of time.
Ole Miss continuously getting early rotations into the next hills. The slip-ups coming through Knoxville and biting them in the rear. However, the trades did come through, and now they have firm control over top of this construction site. Good shots from Slain down on top to that one player. And Slane's going to have to make something huge happen. Gets to play on to Mensa. Good shots coming through as well from Stainless. These angles have to be more than well hold. They have to play, well, not damn near, but entirely flawlessly. You can see the setup coming through immediately into electronics. Scheming comes through, finds 2.
No one's there.
And that can go ahead and just be it right there. The hard point will be rotating over. No spawns, no players over there. 1 second was the only thing they needed, and Ole Miss Red will be able to come out on top of map number 1.
And Ole Miss Red actually did something pretty brilliant there as well. They send 2 players to new kind of continuously on a rotation, but they send 2 players at the very end late to try to contest the old time, knowing that if UTK even steps off for 1 fraction of a second, do they get credited with the win. So 250-205, UTK making a better go of it, but 41 kills for the L for Connor. You definitely don't like to see that. As again, Stainless was able to pick things up late in that last rotation, the second hill, but a very uncharacteristic start for him. One of the big SMG players you're looking for to have good moments for the University of Tennessee at Knoxville had a little bit of a slow go of it and only a 45-point loss for UTK. A little bit of a late surge, but of course, just too much of a differential early on throughout that second rotation.
Yeah, I mean, you have your AR player, Connor, absolutely going off in the kill feed. Now, you did have Slim drop a 30 bomb themselves at 32 kills. They go 32 and 33. But there's got to be more than that. We talk about the hesitation
Absolutely.
and what you end up doing with those kills. It's that execution play. You can have that heroic play, yes, coming through your AR player. But again, a team that comes distinctly to mind is UT Dallas Shift. You know as well as I do, covering that team a handful of times yourself, that when your AR player ends up finding those kills, it's then comes down to the SMGs to then push on forward and find those kills that much further. We can then take Ole Miss as this example. Well, they're a shining example of this. I mean, Mensa gets a kill or two that then will allow Fib to push on forward. Multiple members, 3 of them, in fact, dropping 30 bombs. Mensa, Kareev, and Fib all going off the rails inside a 30 kill game. As again, you take a look at the maps, 250 to 205. Ramaza goes in the favor of Ole Miss Red, but we're gonna slow things down here. Headed into S&D, Piccadilly Shift. You got a good taste of that this past weekend. You were there at that live event, Piccadilly S&D, home of a lot of long sightlines, but some good, well-placed smoke grenades could both lead to well-timed sniper shots or a even more aggressive MP5 rush.
Yeah, the typical setup that we're going to see here is likely a sniper for each squad, plus at least three ARs behind it. If not potentially having all 4 members that are left holding ARs. We saw a lot of 3 ARs, a sniper, and then just 1 SMG player that, let's be candid, typically struggled to find an opportunity to make anything happen. You just don't want to be there, though, with an SMG. It's so difficult to find an angle, to find some success. Typically, your bomb carrier is the guy that's running that SMG on offense. Now, defense is just kind of a pick and choose where you want to kind of push through. So we'll be interested to see exactly how this UTK esports team is able to adapt. And beyond that, we saw it time and time again at Minneapolis, like you mentioned. It really came down to the team that had the better sniper gameplay ended up winning the map, and usually won it pretty convincingly. And I don't know if we'll see that being copy pasted here in the CCL, but I think sentiments of it will still exist as we look at this map more and more in the future.
I'm excited to see it, though. I mean, like we've seen a lot of different players find that timing, because that hesitation is still such a key factor for a lot of these teams. We saw it in our previous match that we just covered, Shift. We saw a little bit of that on Hardpoint coming out from Knoxville itself. That hesitation could end up leading to a well-timed AX50 shot, HDR, depending on your flavor of the week. But regardless of the matter, what you do have to be very careful of is that that pace and that tempo change. We've seen a lot of teams that do favor the aggressive route, especially on S&D, can be snuffed out by UT Knoxville, especially by a player that is pretty well versed in longer sightlines. Directly looking at Connor, or Condog as their player name may be listed in this match alone. Again, dropping 41 and 24, coming into a losing hardpoint where you did lose 45 points to Ole Miss Red. You can take Piccadilly for an M4 player and take a lot of those angles and absolutely run away with the round itself.
And that's the biggest thing, is can you find the opportunity to execute at all on offense towards a bomb site? Again, it's so hard because an AR could be tucked away in a corner and essentially single-handedly shut down the B or the A bomb site. So we'll take a look to see how things go. Match is about to start up here, though. Again, Piccadilly SCD coming back to us here in map number 2. Ole Miss, the 250 to 205 win. Again, for joining us late here on the Ramaza hardpoint. But this Piccadilly Search and Destroy, this is where things can really get out of hand quickly if you're not careful. And I'm interested to see if UTK's AR presence can really step up and be a definitive game changer for them. They'll be on the defense first. Mensa sniping, we'll see 1 cross, but that'll be just about it. And that's all he sees. So now he knows that only 1 player is over towards the A bomb site. It's a 4-man stack for UTK just outside the library towards B.
I'd be interested to see how Skeeman takes this very good positioning between buses. I mean, that positioning alone for an MP5 player is just so strong. However, it's Slain. Finds first blood. It's on a Kariz. Fib still holding onto the bomb. Will be a little bit closer towards the bus side. Probably just waiting to see if Skeeman is able to turn this positioning into any sort of kills. There's Connor. Finds the head of Mensa, rips it right off. Now, immediate numbers advantage, 5-3. That's right.
So, Connor up top. Austin will not find the kills, and now all of a sudden he's going to get double challenged from 2 players across. Slim able to get the kill credit, and now it's just down to Skeeman. He did find 1 kill onto Connor, so no sniper presence for him, but has to find the 1v1 versus the players sitting in mid buses. and UTK find themselves a defensive round win. Again, we're going to be seeing likely a lot of that, especially if the opening snipes favor that of the defense. It's just so difficult as an offensive team to rotate around it. Especially if you open up with an early smoke, which most typically do, just to get themselves into an offensive position where they can maybe even execute onto a bomb site. You're shorthanded that extra smoke. It becomes difficult then to execute down numbers into either the A or the B bomb site. And so now we go into round number 2 and see if UTK can string together 2 straight rounds.
Every bit of the members from Knoxville getting a little bit of love on their defensive round, each one of them with a kill. Scheming was, again, the one that found Connor, Condog. Stainless does have the bomb. Looks like they were looking to hit towards the pillar's side. Trying to look towards the library bomb site B as it may be listed. And I like this change of tempo. Again, the patience coming out from Knoxville, allowing Ole Miss to force their own error. And then, like you said, I mean, Menza was seen, but it's Scheming that found Condog first. And there's Menza along with the AX-50.
And you feel like with Goose's position, you were hoping to free him up to move maybe a little bit more aggressively. Fib up close, 1v1, not even going to tag him. Mensa able to find the headshot beforehand. He's just sitting again on that blocked off tunnel to the subway, or I guess the tube as they call it here in Piccadilly Circus. Looking for Stainless to maybe make a play, and was that Mensa credited with the final kill? Hard to say, but he was darn close with the scope, and Ole Miss right in the back end of the sniper rifle from Mensa. Able to find a couple of picks, but I guess that the last kill did go in favor of Fib at a little bit of a range. But again, 3 players looking at him. Really no chance whatsoever for Stainless to make a play.
Would have been a miracle. But it's just even things up here. Heading into round number 3, Ole Miss going to take their adaptations on their offense, see what they can work with. I mean, able to find Condog immediately with the AX-50, immediate presence down, which just allows Mensa to almost roam freely and find these angles. There was the attempt at the smoke and well-trained time for the shot through it with the AX-50 unable to get it. Just going to end up taking a rotation all the way around. And again, here we have Fib with the bomb playing around the buses with Scheming for top of that little mid area. But no players really budging too far forward. Connor's still jostling for position, trying to find that angle with their sniper rifle. Does have to be wary about Mensa's own presence.
Again, we did see a pretty considerable amount of Piccadilly over the course of the weekend. As not sure if it was supposed to be like a closet pick. You know, we haven't seen much of it. Haven't even casted much of it at that point.
Oh, Connor has
back in the
M4
rotation with a little bit of favor. Connor M4 not sniping this time around, finding 1 kill. Goose with the MP5 and Slim also getting a little bit more aggressive over the middle of the map, finding 2 kills. And now with the numbers, UTK want to trap these 2 players on the backside of the shops. They know exactly where they are. You can see the flank is coming all the way back through what looks to be the arcade currently on the bottom side of your mini-map. And this is going to be a full surround. Mensa drops Kariz, last player left, no chance. Another defensive round coming through. UTK take the lead 2-1.
And this is why I love Search and Destroy as a game mode too. I mean, it gives teams the opportunity to slow the tempo up, and you see Knoxville being able to do just that. And they look great in that slower tempo, just again allowing Ole Miss to make the errors themselves and being able to take their errors turn into kills and numbers advantage as it may be. And then you go down to the conditioning as far as weapon play is concerned. You can be directly concerned if you see Connor go for an original peek, but doesn't aim down the sight, so you don't see the flare from the flashlight or the glasses it may be from the sniper rifle. It can really get into the player's mentality, especially for Mensa, who's trying to meet that sniper angle, AX-50 to AX-50. And then you can go for rushes such as this all the way through pillars. Well-timed smokes and placements as well. I believe this rush is going to be well scouted, but this is going to be catching Ole Miss completely off guard. Austin goes down from a well-placed Semtex from Slim.
I love it. Just flood it. Just see what happens. Try to change things up. Force Mensa to hit a shot. He misses that one just over the right shoulder of one player. The bomb gets down. Numbers as well for UTK in the 4v3. Connor finds another Mensa, no chance with the pistol, and what a beautifully executed round there for the University of Tennessee at Knoxville. They just say, screw the AR, screw the sniper rifles, hit the smokes, hit the gas pedal, get there, see what happens. No counter nades come through to find any picks, and UTK find themselves a very quick offensive round, now leading 3-1.
Able to see the MP5 player, the SMG player, Stamless from Knoxville come to life, like we said, uncharacteristically going 18 and 27 on Ramaza hardpoint. Able to come to life there. That's exactly what you want to see. It's now sitting up at 3-1. Here's Mensa. The time in the smoke, almost there.
Almost.
Mensa with the AX-50 still probably waiting for Connor, but it's been pulling out the AR the past couple rounds.
2 rounds in a row, yeah.
Yeah, and it's been fantastic with it, too. I mean, they're up 2 rounds, Knoxville with a very good lead and a very good split. Take a look at their defensive setup.
Skeeman finds a big pick on the stainless top of Arl Sheik, and he'll take down another. 1 kill getting traded, but that's a lot of progress towards the A bomb site as it does get planted behind the push from Skeeman. And now he's in a place where he can just sit and play for the clutch. Goose knows he has to challenge this. He will be notified by that alarm bell popping off, so I imagine Skeeman will be ready to take a look from behind him. Not going to have his gun out, though, and so Goose finds a pick. Connor now pushing back through. Fib may be in a little bit of trouble as he's playing around by the tents. Kariz drops, and the retake is looking pretty good for UT Knoxville. Connor's going to jump on top of this. Mensa needs to have the perfect nade. Will toss it over. It's just a bit too deep. Mensa will find a kill, but it's not enough to get the bomb defuse stopped. And that'll be another round for UTK, up now 4-1.
Fantastic timing there from Knoxville. I mean, let alone Skeeman not hearing the alarm go off too was a bit of a fumble in my own terms, but very, very well timed from UT Knoxville, especially for Connor pushing right back through the shops and being able to find those well-trained shots to be able to come through on a team kill. Or not a team kill, excuse me, well-trained team shots. Now you have Connor up at 4-2. Goose is up at 5-3. And now the tempo is quite literally on the other side of the teams of UT Knoxville playing rather aggressive again. And well, it worked the first time.
Yeah, been able
to try it again.
Mensa has got to be forced to hit a shot. I don't even hear the sniper rifle going off whatsoever. Austin's the only player here defensively. It's a 4-man stack towards the A bomb site. This time, though, the set nades are good. Right on the backside of the arches as the cars will explode around them. And that's been one of the biggest complaints about this map is the fact that just toss a nade close enough and the cars will do the work for you. That time is absolutely the case. It's still a 2-on-3 though. And UTK with pressure by this B bomb site might just be able to get this planted and put the game clock in their favor. But it looks like for now, they're trying to zone things out. Slan will eventually come back. Slim watching up beyond him, but I'm pretty sure these are 2 SMG players left alone here for UTK. And somehow they're allowed to get back over into the library, though Kariz will find one. Gets caught apparently at one spot. Skeeman will find the trade, and that'll be enough for a pretty easy defuse. Ole Miss able to put things back to a 4-2 total.
Yeah, I mean, well, it was more than well timed for both teams on that side. And you're just going to see time exhausted to get, they can get their specialists, but you can almost suspect that Ole Miss are starting to be more than aware than for Knoxville's tricks. So the setup was fantastic. And again, I go back to the word conditioning. Hey, Ole Miss were set up for the opposite. I mean, there's no way that you can catch us off guard a second time. And Knoxville almost did it. Almost getting the mental warfare that is more than coming along with Search and Destroy time and time again. I love the mix-ups coming through from Knoxville. And Mensa is still sticking true with this AX-50. We'll be looking past the pillar side. There's the shot right there onto Connor. Down a member already from Knoxville. That's going to enable themselves to push, though. Goose is right there holding through. He's able to take down Skeeman. Fib still holds the bomb, though.
And again, Mensa finding a pick. Just look how much slower UTK plays on the back end of that. They're trying to rotate through from the A side of the map, but they have to take cautious sightlines because they know Mensa is going to be watching them on that big cross as the bomb is planted even more so. Austin finds a kill on the Stainless, who's trying to flank just down to Goose. Everyone knows where he is. Ole Miss Red with now 2 rounds straight after they get a little bit aggressive towards the B-bomb side on their offensive hit. 1 round differential. And again, if Mensa continue to find at least 1 pick, it looks like that might be what's needed for Ole Miss Red to feel more comfortable about their approach, not only defensively, but especially that last round on their attacks. They would love to keep that trend moving in their direction.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I believe that Condog ended up bringing out the AX-50. That previous round, though, missing the shot, well-trained already, was Mensa down the sightlines. And, well, you already said it, Shift, is that as long as that pick comes through, you can see what a team with the aggression presence like Ole Miss Red are able to do with it. They just press on forward and try to flood on any sort of room that is in front of them. First blood goes in the way of Austin, favorable. Skeeman and Mensa fall down immediately. I mean, Slim finding 3 right off the rip. I mean, this is really good for Knoxville now. They can just press on forward. You see Slim not hesitating at all. Speeding his way through the library. No players left there. Will be the 1 player in Fib rotating through buses. Here's the shots behind him. Gets turned around and still shot in the back. Now, Knoxville putting themselves on map point 5-3.
And this is what I was talking about when we were framing up this map as a whole before we started was, you know, there are moments where it's like, man, I have an SMG. I'm not able to use it to do anything. But then you have moments like Slim is able to find just a small opening to get around the flank, and he picks up 3 kills. And those are the moments that, if you only had an AR to do that, probably does not pay off as much because, again, as an SMG player, you want to get in these tight little corridors to stay as safe as possible. And just sometimes the timing works out into your favor and makes an explosive play like that happen for Slim. So now it will be Ole Miss desperately needing to find themselves an offense. They've only been able to convert 1 so far. It's going to happen over towards B. Setnade nearly takes down Kariz. 1v1. Even will find the kill, but Austin, who was trying to help, unfortunately trades the teammate out. So now a 4-on-4. Slim able to take down 1. Connor from the front side of the windows of the library, another. And just like that, it's Austin by himself for the 1v4. He's got an idea as far as where 1 player is, but 2 more will charge at him. No chance. UTK and the Vols able to find a 6-3 win on Piccadilly.
It was able to help, just not for the right team, sadly. Especially on a much-needed round right there. And again, I love this turn of pressure coming up from UT Knoxville. Again, getting rid of the hesitation. It could just be match fears. Who the heck knows? At the end of the day, it's still what you end up needing to do. I mean, you see how it all works out, even all the way up to the CDL. The one team that does aggress first typically comes out on top, but it's not by way of a little bit of mental warfare and just having the Augusto to make Ole Miss get a little bit uncomfortable and get a little bit too antsy to push on forward and force these errors that allows Knoxville to be able to come out on top of these engagements. It's also just really well-trained angles coming out from Connor, their M4s and their MP5s able to come to life across the board.
Yeah, 100% the case. And it's just good to see that the SMG pressure that UTK was consistently going for was paying off for them, either on those offenses, like we saw Slim on that defense, able to find a little bit of a hole and make it work for 3. So looking back at what we've done so far and where we're going to be headed to, again, the 6-3 was just in our most recent history, but before that, 250-205 was the Ramaza hardpoint for Ole Miss Red. Hackney Yard is the domination coming up next. Again, one of the more common maps that we see in domination. Well, let's be honest, we're going to see very little Petro because of the way that the map is currently. We saw 0 of it at Minnesota, so it's either going to be Gunrunner or Hackney, I think, preferred for a lot of these teams until there might be maybe a change that happens to where that B flag is positioned on Petro. But regardless, we'll have Hackney for the map 3, and we will stay there to at least see the map 4, which will be Hackney Yard hardpoint, and if we need it, St. Petro will be map number 5 for our final for our final search and destroy. Although it says hardpoint there, it is of course going to be search and destroy, as is typically the case for map number 5. We are switching up the host for a moment, so we'll step away for a small break. When we come back, map number 3, currently a 1-1 series here between the University of Tennessee and Ole Miss Red. Don't go too far. We'll be right back just after this. Hello, and welcome back to the CCL. We're dealing with Hackney Yard for the domination. 1-1 in the maps currently between the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, going up against Ole Miss. And again, this is one of those maps that it really does feel like, how do you play it from the C side? Can you find a way to flip the spawns around? Can you find a way to get some early pressure over at B? Those are all questions that UTK Esports will have to consider, as they are the ones spawning out by the C side of the map. They're going to try to full flood into the L side of the warehouse. So far, so good, as they find a couple of kills. Although, again, the first 2 flags will be secured here for Ole Miss Red, and they'll try to reinforce not only in the warehouse, but they also have 2 players sitting mid-map from the office and from the crates themselves.
1 player for Knoxville on top of near smokestack will go down. It's going to be Slim. Kariz on top here with the M4. Has a really good angle there on the Stainless, who was working their way into phone booth. 2 players now rotating in towards yellow. Now have not only to worry about Kariz. Finds more. But now they also have to worry about this peek coming through window. Slain, caught in a reload. Fib will take their head off. And you can see we've seen time and time again, how powerful having MP5s in top, lower, all of L is just so important. You can really just force this rotation coming out. You see unfavorable coming outside the offices. Although the trade does come through from Slain onto Mensa, a lot of the damage has been done by way of communication. It's going to force Fib to come out back. Going to stop this C and A hold coming through. But as this push is coming through, you see C flag does go to neutral, unable to protect the home flag. This could enable a collapse immediately onto A. Knoxville's not budging.
This is a perfect play for Knoxville. They get the full swing around, and even better for them is the simple fact that Ole Miss Red wanted to come back and try to flank the flank, as the player that initially neutralized C is now the player that's all the way by the A flag. But with that, they never actually converted it. And so now that all of a sudden, one
no.
player randomly for UTK spawned by C, they will get that flip. A 1v1 will be happening for the A flag. That goes in favor of Goose. And just like that, the A flag stays neutral. And off of the spawns for the Vols, they will have numbers into the warehouse to potentially influence the B flag.
Yeah, Goose was back there causing so much chaos. Menza will be able to get that trade after Fib goes down. But again, the pressure was there. The map has been taken advantage of. There is Fib coming in through back and bottom of L. Will be taken care of. And this is a really good hold inside the warehouse. Again, just by a well-timed play, that flag not getting flipped onto C will be flipped now. As Old Miss are trying to go for the AC flip themselves, trying to give Knoxville a taste of their own medicine, but that just allows them to take trades towards the tire shop, be able to take A's home.
And
but C still wasn't flipped.
They secure the A spawns, and now they immediately all start flooding back to the B flag, which has been neutralized, but it will be re-secured in the warehouse currently for the Vols again in orange. One more kill here. It's Connor able to find it, no problem. He'll immediately step onto the B flag. Needs some help, though, as Fib comes through and finds a kill, and you kind of wonder where Slim was. I believe he was the player trying to flank through the mid. Would have loved to have had him there a bit sooner, as Ole Miss Red are trying to work their way into this B flag. They will come back through to get the neutralization, but even still, as all this has occurred, nobody from Ole Miss Red has captured the C flag, so now UTK, who have still the A spawns, will come back for numbers and will continue to secure themselves points. None of this was essentially a neutralization for Ole Miss Red because, again, 12 points per minute if you hold on to one flag. So even though Ole Miss Red was neutralizing B, they weren't generating any points. And just like that, UTK Esports with the triple cap coming in where they could be earning a total of maybe 36 points per minute. Of course, obviously, it's not going to come into full fruition as there'll eventually be a couple of flags being traded back and forth. But UTK all over the map and convincingly winning this domination currently.
You do have a player on top of Office that's going to be able to scout this player going towards phone booth. This is none other than Condog, the designated M4 player. Long sight lines, love to be traded out by this player, will go down by Kariz. But still, like you were saying, I mean, being able to control so much map, Stainless, your lord. Going up in top L and being able to cause a massacre. Now rotating in towards the Office side will go down. But again, the map control that's coming out from Knoxville, not to mention the home flag being swapped, Ole Miss Red really wanted to keep A in their favor, and by doing so, it caused a lot of problems for them to try to even control at least one flag by the time that they had bodies on the B. Again, Knoxville just getting the spawns more than necessary, being able to flood right back in.
You're just wondering at some point in time for Ole Miss, do they try to make this hit back towards the A flag again with a minute 22, or do you just try to hold on to the C and B? Well, maybe now they have to make a play for it, considering that UTK has spawned a little bit all over the place. One player will actually spawn on top of the C flag, so he'll come in there, Slim, a little bit of an awkward 1v1. Maybe thought he got the kill or wasn't 100% sure where the 1v1 would take place, was just spraying all over the bottom side of that tire shop. But the A flag will stay now in control of Ole Miss Red, and meanwhile, throughout all of this flipping back and forth, the B flag is also stayed in possession of Ole Miss, so they're still holding on to two flags with 50 seconds to play, and UTK are going to make maybe one more good hit here for the B flag.
Even getting two, like you said, 45 seconds coming down to the wire in this first half. Condog been taking up residence on the top side of Office, has been cut down yet again by Fib, who picks up their M4. But this lead's starting to diminish very quickly now for Ole Miss Red, who finally got the break more than necessary. The long-lasting war over the A home flag has finally gone in their favor. Although a player is over there for Knoxville, Kariz is going to be aware. Going to back off of B, going to take care of that player who made that one neutral and almost got the flip to come through. You can just see Ole Miss, again, just starting to collect themselves. Starting to turn some kills back in their favor, diminishing that lead against Knoxville, who I believe will still have it leading into the next half shift.
Yeah,
but
they will.
Again, the map control and pressure early on from Knoxville, that's exactly what you want to see heading into the second half. And you can almost believe, especially if you're a Knoxville fan, that that's going to be able to be the answer going against Ole Miss, especially with players such as Goose with their MP5 going off along with Connor that has just been locking down top Office and the mid side towards yellow.
Yeah, if you're UTK, you're very happy with that first half. You come out with the lead. It's 84-83. Sure, it's pretty tight, but regardless, you're still dealing with a situation that you won the first half from the bad side. So now can you put together a little bit more of a stable A and B hold that Ole Miss really was never able to put into their favor until it was maybe a little bit too late? You can see one player for Ole Miss Red will try to cap over towards C. Four more will try to flood to the B flag. Trades back and forth. which will mean nobody will make progress in the B flag whatsoever. We still have 2 players towards the office. Connor trying to work his way bottom. L will hold this angle, waiting for reinforcement, and he's going to be able to line up one, not a second. Fib able to find the trade. Very fortunate that he was able to find that trade, in fact, and he will also be taken down by a nade from Goose. And with that, Goose is going to play his life, not fully secure the flag. I agree with the call. It just comes down to, will he read this player coming around the backside? He's able to secure the flag before the kill comes in, and Connor will find the trade. And just like that, UTK off to a nice start with the A and B hold early.
Yeah, Skeeman and Chris come back in, though. They're able to take care of Connor. Numbers in favor ever so slightly for the B-Dom site for Old Miss. And the kill starting to come through the favor. Skeeman off in the kill feed, finds 3 now. Doing work for themselves. Well, again, Connor just trying to keep control of top. L will go down again by Mensa. Gonna throw down another trophy system, this time on the point. Now here comes the hit coming in. Again, you have just the map presence and pressure alone as all that fighting was happening into B. Spawns came through, and the C flip came through. But again, that is for Ole Miss's favor. They've been wanting A. Dom is home for the entirety of this game mode shift. And although you're able to get the flood coming into B, it doesn't go in the favor for UTK. And now the map has been absolutely flipped and not in UTK's favor.
Yeah, and Ole Miss is doing a much better job setting things up here. They're keeping one player just outside the phone booth smokestack area to watch the crosses. More players up top in L, but more importantly, they've got a player in office who is trying to make sure nobody pushes through to flip the spawns. And with the spawns coming up now for Ole Miss Red, they continue to make sure that the A flag is safe. A much better job controlling the backside here for Ole Miss Red, who are now in the lead by 4 points, make it 5. UTK trying to work over towards the office, but they've only found themselves in the bad end of a couple of unfortunate trades. And UTK, in the last 30 seconds, they have not hit anything together. Finally, 3 players will essentially spawn on top of each other, so they will start to make a play towards this office for a hopeful flip. But again, it is abbreviated in numbers, and they're going to have to find a way to frag out if they won't even have an opportunity at all to try to come over to this A flag. Mensa shut down 1. He's responsible for a second, and UTK's efforts to try to get across the map are not only stalled, but beyond that, Ole Miss Red have now neutralized the C flag off of a solo play, and UTK are scrambling to figure out what they want to do.
And they have the player go and neutralize C, will make way of their life, be able to get a kill. That was Kariz that was able to make that play come through, force all of UTK back towards their C home flag. And this has just been Austin just, well, setting up shop, living there on B, waiting for any sort of contest to come through. It never happened. And Ole Miss are just running around both outside office through that jump peak over top of the dumpsters and through the mid side. And although UTK continuously hold L, they're unable to press into B. It's just being so well held down from all the angles of Fib picking up an M4. It's been popping off with their MP5 as well.
Yikes.
You just can't find any sort of footing. You have Connor going over the MP5 just trying to make this break somehow, some way happen. It's just not coming together for Knoxville anymore.
Yes, Slim is going to make a solo play over towards A, but it's short-lived. Here come the 4 players behind him. Again, imagine if you did this together. Kariz takes down 2, a chance for a third, gets shot through the police car. So now eventually there will be 3 players for UTK on the A side of the map. Skeeman working his way back through the warehouse to try to assist his other teammates that are trying to work their way back to A, which has been now neutralized. But while this again is happening, Ole Miss Red has neutralized the C flag, still have good control of the warehouse, and they're going to flip the flag right at the exact same time as the A flag would have been flipped, which it doesn't actually fully come into control for UTK because Mensa's able to lock down 1. Austin jumps over and finds 1 run the rotation. And again, UTK just individually is all over the map. They have to come together and use these weapons properly. Slayan is not the guy you want to challenge with an optic on an M4, try to get control of the A site, and he'll be taken down no problem by Fib with an MP5.
They're not out of it yet. Almost got that double hold.
Close.
They do have control of B. This is Connor with the MP5 now. Flexibility coming through. Stops that player from throwing down the trophy system before it was too late, though. Goes down by way of a team kill from Slayan. But the kills are still there. The damage has been done. They just need to capture a home flag. There is 1 player for Ole Miss Red hanging out on top of C. That was Kariz. Will take it down. Slayan, again, finding that team kill. We'll be able to trade back onto Mensa yet again. But these kills
right now.
And these trades are coming through. Like you said, you need a trip cap. You need it right now. You at least need a home flag at the very latest. Knoxville, we're down to a minute left. And they are attempting to do the trip cap coming through. But Fib off way of a 2-piece is not going to allow Knoxville to get away with that too easily.
Yeah, GG right there. Ole Miss Red getting themselves 2 flags plus neutralization. And my goodness, that was a tale of 2 halves for Ole Miss Red. Very shaky on their first half when they were playing from the favored side. And they get a little bit of luck here as UTK flipped the spawns, I think, accidentally after they were on the A side. And Ole Miss Red never gave up control of the A flag really at all. It will be likely a double hold here to finish things off for UTK in the last 22 seconds, but it will be pretty negligible to the scoreline, which has been a little bit too far pushed forward by Ole Miss Red. So we will see a 2-to-1 map count for Ole Miss. And yeah, like I mentioned, it was just a simple tale of 2 halves. Mensa finding himself 3 in the late part of the kill feed. That who I was about to talk about, he had himself a much better second half, holding down that rotation from the office side, and Ole Miss Red will now go into map 4 with map lead.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it, if you force Connor, who again dropped a 40 bomb, 41 and 24 on hardpoint, going into this game off of a well-timed mental play against the AX50 and M4 play from Piccadilly, onto the MP5, and then you have, I believe it was Stainless then pick up the M4 at the later half there shift. You know the momentum game that is Call of Duty. You know that the mental could be coming into effect for Knoxville, but they have to go into this next map unscathed and with a clear state of mind, because Ole Miss, again, they're not the type of team to trifle with, that if you give them that forced error, they're just going to gobble it up as if it's dinner itself.
The biggest thing in the back end was just the simple fact that University of Tennessee at Knoxville looked really good with their initial C to A flip that they wanted. But then late into that second half, it was a lot of individuals that were moving by themselves. I mean, we saw an instance of that where they had one individual, I think it was Slim, who was pushing across to A. He had 4 teammates behind him that were coming off spawn. If he were just played his life, wait for them to come in, then maybe you're influencing spawns. But because they came in essentially 1 by 1, they never fully influenced the spawn at all and never get the flip that they wanted. So again, like we mentioned, it's 2-1 in the map total. Looking back at our scoreboard and where we're going to be heading to next, we won't go too far because Hackney Yard will be our hard point for map number 4. Again, one of the maps that was very limitedly touched at Minnesota. We've got ourselves, though, again, a look at UTK at hard point on Ramaza, where they were a little bit all over the place, at least initially on Ramaza, and they were able to at least kind of bring it back near the end. But Ole Miss Red definitely had a better understanding of that map. Will they be able to find similar favor here on Hackney Yard? Again, this is a map that's always dictated by that P2. If you can find yourself a good first rotation, give yourself a 40, 50, 60-point cushion going into the second rotation of hills, it forces your opponent to have to play a little bit more desperate than I think they would like, and typically it turns up in your favor. So again, P2, P5, first rotation, absolutely crucial. Can you control those spawns, or will you find yourself down too early?
Comes down at mid-control too, Chef. I mean, the warehouse from P1 where everything is going to be coming off the rip. Your AR player needs to have a very strong game. You can take a look at the score line itself. 250 to 205. That hard point was very close, again, because Connor went 41 and 24. Was able to put a really good dent, and that was by way of well-trained M4 shots. Hopefully able to come back to life, and whether or not it was because Stainless was having a very hard time with MP5, ended that game at 15 and 30 coming off of domination Hackney Yard. You're going to need a little bit of a step-up case coming in to those later points of rotation, directly looking at 5, 4, and even 3 as well, is that you want to be able to control a decent amount of close-range quarters, such as that office building, with your MP5s. I mean, without that, you're going to be losing a lot of space and time, and you definitely don't want full 60s to go way of Ole Miss.
Yeah, and yeah, you really, again, I think that first hard point, or probably the second hard point, will maybe dictate how the momentum kind of swings here. Will it be back into UTK's favor after they found a very convincing Piccadilly Search and Destroy? It looked really, really calm and collected there with a couple of well-timed hits offensively, giving them the advantage that they were looking for. But again, maybe some signs for concern. Stainless has been just okay today, and he's one of those players that you're really hoping will step up and make an influence early. It will be UTK on the favored side, spawning on this P2 hill. So again, you do not want to let these slip away. Slain will be watching alongside of this, which will leave them limited on numbers. And Ole Miss Red with the first 2 kills, finding favor in the warehouse. It's going to be up to Slim and Connor to try to even things back up. But as the hard point opens, Ole Miss is currently here. And again, they're going to be continually fighting this without the numbers because they're keeping Slain on the abandoned building on the top side of your minimap.
And just waiting for anybody to be on the other side. Perhaps a friendly hello will not be met. Inside the smokestacks all the way into the office, and his trade's coming back and forth. The Ole Miss still had control of ever so slightly. It is the point lead for Knoxville. The retake and the break comes through. Knowing that the hard point is in their control. Going to continuously throw in their bodies. However, it's Ole Miss Red that need to be double timing themselves in here. Scheming able to find a 2-piece will go down from Stainless, who finds themselves 2. We'll trade back ever so slightly. The Ole Miss Red still encroaching forward. They have numbers now. Good shots from Kariz. Is going to start taking this balcony side.
And this is, again, maybe possibility for concern. Kariz takes down another. He's got an opportunity for one more. Goose will find the trade, and now he's turning this into 2, maybe even a 3rd. Will have his teammate get the credit for it, but he was right there for potentially 3. And now, again, this is where things can really get out of hand quickly. It's a slim Ole Miss lead, but they are tasked with the obstacle of having to get past the favorite spawns of UTK. The best way of doing it, hit one side of the map. Do not try to split your attention. And with the spawns in the warehouse here for Ole Miss, looks like they're going to try to hit the south side potentially, especially if they can find a kill up top. Mensa, shots not quite that true. Looking for a second challenge, but Slayin will win it. Trades back and forth. All of that is fine for UTK as they spawn in, but they do lose some time due to the contest, but they will not lose the spawn, so they will see likely these last couple of seconds go their way.
Yeah, no, fantastic luck of the draw. I mean, those spawns coming through on the broken side really aiding out Knoxville, who now extend their lead to about 40 before this hard point will flip over to P3, which is in that phone booth area. And, you know, it's just one of those things. I mean, Ole Miss, it's a veteran move not to try to contest way too early. This is the first rotation of hard points. They're just going to take their rotations off a spawn and be able to set up 4 new as it comes over right outside the smokestack.
I mean, they've got a pretty decent setup, but nobody's on the hill.
Nope.
I don't know who it was, but someone from UTK just ran through the middle of the map and is now all of a sudden on the hill. Slim's here for potentially the help, but that's 20 seconds worth of time that Ole Miss Red absolutely needed. Slim, if he can keep his life, will be an absolute nuisance here in the back. He finds 1 kill. Scheeman will track him down. But still, no time has been generated at all for Ole Miss Red until, of course, I mentioned it. But even Fib is getting off the hill, so it's only a handful of seconds here or there, keeping UTK at a 40-point lead. We'll eventually start to dig into that. Stainless will find a kill with a nade, plus 1 more at the SMG as they're looking for the office rotation. And now he'll be tasked with watching the back parking lot. Won't win the first engagement in front of him. And now Fib wants to make his move across, but doesn't wait for the regen. And just like that, UTK will not only be set up in office, but they also found a handful of seconds on the old hill for scrap. And Ole Miss Red is just dropping the ball at the moment.
Yeah, the spawns are pretty even across the board, though. But spawn on both sides of the office building. See the last player remaining coming in for Knoxville. Will finally spawn out towards the tire shop, though. These trades, so Connor holding these angles with the M4 is able to do a decent amount of work from the inside of the office. Is able to find yet another one. We'll slide in. That's Slayin. Able to take down Fib, and all of these would be scrap time, and if not openings that Ole Miss Red you would think would be able to take advantage of. The kills then come through. You take a look at Knoxville as a whole, 16 and 13 for Stainless. We talked about starting off slow. They're coming to life here in map number 4 shift. And Will Connor, we talked about that 40 bomb that they dropped on hardpoint is at 14 and 10. And for an AR player to be at that stature and able to find that much work and being able to execute it properly, that can create a lot of chaos for Ole Miss Red to try to work around.
You got to take care of it. Good isolation, making sure that not only does some of that scrap time get contested, but you also secure the back end of your own push. As Stainless is having a much better game here. He's 18 and 14, 2 straight in this life. Looking to work his way past the blue van. Will work his way very quickly here. You gotta watch out for the flank. One more player, I believe that's Fib once again, who snuck around the back. Maybe Austin, not 100% sure who it is, but it again keeps UTK from feeling comfortable. And beyond that, with the pressure that he was able to bring through the office side, UTK Esports spun all the way back by P2. Now having to navigate across mid-map. Will try to hit over from the yellow side this time, and that's going to be just as fruitless as their hits from previous. So now 25 seconds left. UTK Esports spawning office will likely just give up these last 20 seconds. We'll be looking at essentially a 139 to about, we'll say 100 points here as we dig into what will be our second rotation of hills, where the Volunteers are going to be setting themselves up initially for the warehouse hold.
And again, these exit frags coming off of the previous hardpoint, coming into this fresh rotation shift, this is in the favor for Knoxville. They are set up shop. Stainless was bottom L. We'll now think twice about that. We'll go break back towards the container side and recognize that there's a player a little bit slow in the draw to see dropping.
Yikes.
Jumped on by Fib. Fib having themselves a bit of a round itself will get cut down by Slayin. However, again, they were set up on top of the point, but then they just press off of it. And now they lose because of it. Well, they're losing the point because of it.
This is fine for Ole Miss Red, though, because you have got 3 players holding the bottom side near this 18-wheeler for P2. They actually spawn 1 player of the Volunteers, now a second over by Yellow. This is going great for Ole Miss Red. You don't really care so much about the initial hill point time on this first hill, which you're actually getting a significant amount of time, but you flip the spawns around. So this is a perfect storm here for Ole Miss Red. 1 player up top and useless is Slim. He's going to have to find a way to potentially influence off the push through from the warehouse. And again, you do not want to move from this position too soon. You want to pinch. You want to try to catch this Ole Miss team off guard. There is 1. Nade will come out for hopefully a second. Will not keep his gut up to the chow. Will move over towards the hard point. Slim will find a kill there. Will eventually get taken down. And Ole Miss Red, without being pressured from the south side of the minimap, will say, good job, Slim. Good for you. But we'll just keep spawning in, no problem. And we're going to have a lead swap here soon.
Yeah, no, that was just very unfortunate. I mean, the timing was there. The players rushing through mid in front of the police car all got cut down after they got spawned in over by the smokestack shift. And although Connor going off explosively, quite literally, on Mensa and Scheeman, the break might not end up being favorable again. I mean, this is about to be a 20-second remaining hill time, and a hit might not be so timely. Again, kills coming through. For the spawns and the rotations, you need to start thinking about P3. The leads are already lost. Ole Miss are starting to take this away ever so slightly, and you can see the rotations automatically coming through the office side. We'll start working their way around the police car to clear the smokestacks. And although Knoxville do have players on the next hardpoint, this pincer coming through shift is about to be deadly.
Scheeman will find one of those kills, eventually traded by Connor. And UTK, fortunately, still spawning in, but someone has to cut mid-map and get over to the office. Otherwise, these spawns could be influenced for P5, which is what will likely determine the outcome of this game. 173 to 169, significant time here for the Vols on this smokestack hardpoint. That's until Scheeman comes back through for 1, not able to find the second goose with the trade. But again, a 175 to 175 game, and Ole Miss Red is more interested in trying to hit people from this back alley, try to work their way in for the P5 spawns. Fortunately, UTK are doing a nice job of battling up against it, so we're going to be left after this third smokestack kill with essentially an even game. Office will influence it one way or another. Nice 2-piece there for Connor as he trades out and makes sure that his teammates can take the scrap time of P3, and it's going to come down to the initial 50-50 for Office, but keep your eye on the bottom side of your minimap. Ole Miss Red have a couple of players that are hitting from the outside of the warehouse and could pinch this. Connor doesn't track it down in time, and that's going to be numbers inside the hill for Ole Miss Red as they find additional time here in P4.
Just starting to slip up, break apart ever so slightly. The lead, though, diminishing. Inside the office here is Fib in firm control. Can't get the snap onto Stainless, who then kills off Fib, who gets traded out by Austin. But again, all of this time in these kills, these trades are not favorable for Knoxville, as it was, and what you would think would be the first half of this hardpoint on Hackney Yard. Ole Miss Red on series point are really starting to solidify themselves as a team that likes to commit to the rotations when it is favorable for that time. And it's about to be that time yet again. Scrap time is in effect. You see Knoxville flooding themselves into this point. They almost have to at this point, just so that way they can get this time in their favor. But we're about to be rotating towards the backside of the map. Connor might not hear this player. Austin upstairs cuts down Stainless as they try to be contested. Fib goes down by the angle being held by Connor. Has to get this kill. That's huge.
And Connor has to keep his life here. Besides just getting the kill, he needs to stay alive while the rest of his teammates rotate in from behind him. The spawns are blocked. They're 50-50. It's going to be a warehouse spawn for Ole Miss Red. It's an office spawn currently for UTK. Kariz with 3 big kills. Fib able to reinforce to come right back on through. 198, the 220. Ole Miss Red cementing themselves up in P5 where they can win off of this warehouse. University of Tennessee Knoxville has to break. Nice kill there for Stainless. Again, he was slow in the first couple of maps, but he's 32 and 31, 3 straight, and on the back end of him finding 3 kills, it'll be UTK flipping the spawns around, and we're going to be dealing with an even game once again as we head to our third rotation of hills in the next 12 seconds.
And the setup again coming through for Knoxville. The lead getting ever so closer. Knoxville is on the heels of Ole Miss Red. Good shots coming through, although life being traded away. The numbers flooding in here from Knoxville are going to be really good. The spawns coming through in front of the tire shot too for the 2 players that just went down. And Fib really needed at least more than 1 there to make this teeth cinch in from Ole Miss Red. Now, the player coming in from bottom L does go down. Spawn's coming through right outside the office side. The hardpoint is being contested. Traded out, though, is Goose. 233 and counting up for Knoxville, now being spawned all the way outside towards office and smokestack. This is looking really hard for Knoxville to come back into this fight.
Ole Miss Red initially wanted the back spawns for P2 just in case, and they flood right back in. So now UTK 245, 233. They have to make a way to come back in. It's going to be a full-on flood. Fib, the only player here defensively. The break is contested. One more player here is not going to touch in time. And Ole Miss Red will survive the 250-234 and the late call for Ole Miss to rotate from office, get yourself spawns for the eventual P2 if you need it, are then able to work their way into the warehouse. UTK was not 100% sure if do we go for the second hill spawns? Do we try to just win the game off the first hill? They threw all their eggs into the let's just get the warehouse control basket, and they eventually get broken and can never retake past it. 250-234. Ole Miss will win the series 3-1.
35-24, Chris just went. That's insane. Yeah. Going tit for tat for the AR play, we were highlighting Connor, who went 31-28, by the way, in this map. It's just not enough when you have every player minus Austin for Ole Miss Red dropping 30 bombs across the board. Scheming went 32 and 37. What you would expect out of an SMG player trying to create all of the space and the chaos in the world. Menza at 30-27, the co-M4 player, 2 Kariz. Fib was also having themselves in a really good series across the board. Dropped 31-21 in the previous map, went 30-32 this map as well, making themselves known on Hackney Yard, especially for an SMG player. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, insane match there. But once again, the University of Tennessee at Knoxville come up just a touch short. That's so tough, and they'll start their season not on the right foot for them. Again, here is the series 250-205, and what was maybe a little bit more lopsided than initially the score might suggest. UTK with a late surge, but it was in essentially vain for them. 6-3 as they looked very good in the search and destroy, and then a shaky first half for Ole Miss Red as they spawned on the A side of the map for Hack the Yard domination initially, but they were able to find an early break and flip of the spawns on the second half, leading to a 196-150 win, and then an absolute barn burner going down to the first hill on our third rotation of hardpoints for the Hackney Yard hardpoint. Ole Miss taking a 3-1. That'll improve them, find themselves with a second win on the season, now 2-1. They will also move to 6-4 on the maps, as far as I understand. UT Knoxville still looking for their first official win, as I believe the only win credited to them thus far has essentially just been the forfeit win that they got because the University of Southern Arkansas Gold could not play and field a roster. So UTK, again, a tough opening season for them, but that's going to be the case in the storyline for all of these Southeastern squads in that division when you've got the full power of Georgia Southern, Full Sail, Alabama, Louisiana Tech, and Florida State, and the University of Arkansas are all undefeated so far. It's a tough one. And then you've also got Mississippi State, Ole Miss Red, and Liberty Navy in this division, and the University of Louisiana Lafayette, who is 0-2 somehow to start this. I mean, this is a tough division, and really you have to find a way to win maps like that and matches like that, I think, if you're UTK, if you want to have a chance to make playoffs.
Stamina, the consistency. So many words come to mind, Shift. You know me, I could probably talk for hours just on that alone, but it's... Again, you have to show just that sheer amount of grit, especially heading into this very stacked division as it may be. I mean, the Southeast is you can almost probably hear the dust blow over. It's so quiet, everybody just staring down the barrel from the Peacekeepers looking at one another. It's a very stacked division. But again, I mean, you saw Knoxville. They were able to put together a lot of well-timed situations and able to turn it back on its head. You go back in the first half in domination where they were in a firm control as far as map presence was concerned, that it was almost there. That was just a little bit better on the execution coming through from Ole Miss Red. And like you said, Knoxville just coming up just a tad bit short. They almost got it all together. And I'm so excited that this is just week 2 because we get to see more adaptations from Knoxville. And I want to see them succeed even more so.
Well, they'll have to wait until their next matchup to have a chance at it. Next, coming up, we'll have Grossmont Community College and the Grand Canyon University out of the West. Apparently, they have already started map number 1, We'll be jumping into map number 2 when we come back. Visions will join me for the cast on that one, so don't go too far. A Western Division matchup to finish off the evening here on Tuesday of the Collegiate Call of Duty League. We'll catch you back with Grosse Pointe College and Grand Canyon just after this.